Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Coffee with Katie. So today's video is going to be my October TBR. October is almost upon us and it's kind of freaking me out. And I've been super busy because this week I'm preparing to go out of town again. I'm going to Florida and going to Harry Potter World, which is gonna be so much fun. So it's kind of crazy and I needed to film something, so I had something to put up for you guys. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I feel like I was overly ambitious for my September TBR, putting a bunch of them on my TBR that haven't even come out yet as I'm filming this video right now. So I feel like a lot of this is going to be repeats of my September TBR because they're really anticipated releases of mine that I want to finish, and they're like series that I'm looking forward to wrapping up. So some of those are going to be repeats. Some of them won't be, but some of them are. And a little bit of a spoiler for my September reading wrap up, I didn't read a lot of the things that I wanted to read just because I was traveling and very busy and didn't really have a lot of time. I'm trying to wrap some of them up, but I'm not seeing some of them getting finished. So I may even drag some of those over until October. This is gonna be one of those like guidelines and actual rules type of a month because I'm not sure I'm gonna read all of these, and I might read some of the ones from September instead of these, so it's just a whole thing. I'm rambling, I'm sorry. Also, if you can hear chewing, my dog's over there entertaining himself because he's very mad that we're not playing right now. All right, so with all of that being said, let's just get into today's video and what I'm gonna be reading in October, hopefully. So first off, let's just get through the ones that are gonna be transferring over from my September TBR to my October TBR, because obviously I've talked about them already. One of which is Kingdom of the Feared by Carrie Maniscalco. As I'm filming this comes out tomorrow. So I am probably not even gonna get it in the mail because I did pre-order it until right before my trip, if not after my trip. So I know I'm not gonna be able to get to that one right now. But it is the third book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series. I love the series, it's been a lot of fun. You're following a twin who finds her twin sister brutally murdered, and she's kind of trying to solve this murder. And she enlists the help of a demon prince named Wrath. And it's been a lot of fun, can't wait to see what she does in the third book. Very much looking forward to it. Another trilogy that I'm trying to wrap up because the third one's coming out also on Tuesday is the Golden Enclaves by Naomi Novik. This is the third book in the Lessons of the Scholomance series. Also, I'm not going to receive this before my trip because I ordered it from the UK because I have all the UK editions and I have to match because I'm psycho. And in A Deadly Education, you're basically following a student who goes to this Scholomance and you either graduate or you die, and there's like monsters in the school and she's trying to learn magic and how to survive. But a big part of surviving is making alliances, and she is not very well liked, and so you're kind of going with her on her journey with that. It's very quirky, not as action-packed, I think, as some people think it would be, but I really enjoy it, and I'm really looking forward to wrapping the trilogy up because the cliffhanger on book 2 was insane. Maybe not insane as in like crazy, but just insane as in like emotional damage. The next one would be The Demon in the Wood by Leigh Bardugo. This is a graphic novel, and it's all about the Darkling. It's a Darkling prequel story, which, like I've said before, there's a little story in the end of Ruin Rising that's called Demon in the Wood, and it's that story, but it's expanded and in graphic novel form, all about the Darkling. I love the Darkling. I cannot wait. I will devour this as soon as I get it, but it may not get here before I leave. So that's all the ones I'm for sure carrying over. I may carry over a couple more, but those are the ones I'm definitely carrying over. The next book that I'm hoping to read to finish up another series is Capturing the Devil by Carrie Maniscalco. Yes, we're going to be trying to read both of her books this month. But this is going to be wrapping up the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, which I have really enjoyed this series. It's been a lot of fun and really up my alley, and kind of, it's not what got me into Carrie Maniscalco, but I was convinced I would love this series. And so when I read Kingdom of the Wicked by her, I was absolutely 100% sure I would love this series because I liked her as an author and I liked this premise, and I was correct. I've really, really enjoyed it. And like I said, this is the fourth and final book, and anxious to see how she wraps up the storyline with Audrey Rose and Thomas Cresswell. If you don't know what Stalking Jack the Ripper is, first one's set in 1800s England, and you're following Audrey Rose, who wants to be a forensic student, but it is frowned upon for her to do so because she is a woman. But she's really good at what she does, and Thomas Cresswell is kind of a Sherlock Holmes character where he uses a lot of deductive reasoning, and he's very intelligent and smart and hilarious and sassy. So I really want to see how this wraps up. The third book was really good, but there was some painful, emotional parts to it. It's a little bit gory, graphic at times, which is great for October and for forensics, so I love it. And in this book, they're in America, which is exciting, so I'm curious to see how this story will go. and hopefully I will be able to wrap up this series so that I can complete it this year. Another book that I would love to read in October, because spooky season, would be The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter by Theodora Goss. This, from what I've been told, is kind of like a historical fantasy where it's like, you know, 1800s London, sassy female characters, that type of vibe that I really enjoy, but also monsters. So it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde's daughter, Frankenstein's daughter. It's kind of stuff like that, and it sounds insanely interesting, and it's also kind of like a murder mystery as far as I'm aware. It also involves like Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, which is just crazy and fun. And it just sounds like an amazing and unique story. And I've actually heard really good things about this series. It's only a trilogy, and this is, I think, one of the shortest ones. So I would love to start this. I've been wanting to start it for a really long time and just haven't got around to it, so October would be a fantastic time. So hopefully I can get to this. Another one that's been on my radar and I feel like has a lot of October vibes is City of Thorns by C.N. Crawford. This is book 1 in the Demon Queen Trials. And from what I know about this, this is like a dark fantasy romance. And essentially, I think on her 21st birthday, she's kidnapped by a demon who is the Lord of Chaos because he mistakes her for a doppelganger succubus. I don't know. Anyway, she's kidnapped by a demon and he takes her into the dungeons to torture her because he thinks she's this other person. And he finds out that she's not and that she's in fact human. So they kind of strike a deal so that he can get revenge on this doppelganger. And so she can find out who killed her father and also get revenge on them. And I guess because she has to pose as this person, romance ensues. But it sounds like a fun read for October. It's pretty short and I've been wanting to get to it, so I thought this would be a good one to throw in there. Another one that I've been meaning to read and kind of wanted to read in like August and didn't get to it is The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. Trisha Levenseller is an author I've been intrigued by almost every one of her stories. I have like all of her works, and yet I've never read anything by her, and it makes me feel horrible. So I thought this would be a good one to pick for October. I've heard it described as a Slytherin romance. I don't know, but basically the girl in this marries a king, and I think he kills every one of his brides. I'm not sure about that part, but I just know he's like a villainous shadow king, and she's trying to marry him so she can become queen and then kill him to get him out of the picture. And it's kind of like an enemies to lovers thing, I believe, YA. And it sounds interesting. I've heard good things about it. The cover is amazing and definitely giving me October vibes. So I'd love to read this if I can. Been meaning to get to it for forever, and so now would be a great time if I can make it happen. Another book that I really, really, really need to read, we'll see because it's chunky, is Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. I have never read anything Jay Kristoff has written, but when I heard this book was coming out, I was insanely interested and thought it sounded amazing and was really intrigued by all the different houses and the powers, even though I don't really know anything about it. As far as I know, the main character is telling you his story, and it's been years and vampires rule the world and they don't want this to happen anymore, and he's on a quest to find the Holy Grail, and there's vampires and families and politics. I really don't know. I just know there's vampires. He's looking for the Holy Grail. I don't know. I've never read Jay Kristoff. I haven't heard great things about him recently, but I'm very intrigued by this story and have heard really good things. So I am looking forward to reading this if I can. October is a perfect time to pick it up. Vampires, murder, all kinds of stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to get to this. It is huge, and listening to it will also take some time, but hopefully I can make it happen because this has been on my TBR for probably a year now, and it just needs to happen. So hopefully I can get to this too. And while that probably will suffice as my shelf pick, because it does have sprayed edges and it is on my shelves, I will do one shelf pick just in case I can be super ambitious and blow through all of these. I highly doubt it, but I'll throw one in there just in case. So let me go ahead. Okay. Oh, okay. So I drew Dance with a Fae Prince. So let me go ahead and grab that. So we have Dance with a Fae Prince by Elise Kova. The reason this is on the sprayed edges shelf is because it's a Fae Crate special edition and has these holographic silver edges. So I really wasn't expecting this one, but this is another fantasy romance. They're all individuals They're all set in the same world, but they're all individual stories. They're not really connected except for the world they exist in. And I believe Duel with a Vampire Lord, Vampire King, something, is out now. I know I pre-ordered the Fake Crate edition, so whenever I get that, that's when I get it. But this is in a Married to Magic series, so if I can get to this, I will. And the back of it just kind of says, she knew her hand in marriage would be sold. She had no idea a Fae prince was the buyer. So I feel like that's all you really need to know. I'm sure there's politics and danger and all kinds of stuff, but I feel like that's all you really need to know. It looks like he has butterfly wings, which is interesting. And so this is my shelf pick for October. Probably more light and fluffy than I would have picked myself, but maybe that's a good thing because all of these are more dark. So we will also have this one if we can. If I can force myself to read by Nikki St. Crow, I might do that, but after reading the first one, I was not a fan, but I do want to continue it. We'll see if I can do it. If not, I'll just throw it in there at some point when I've finished my TBR and I've got like 5 hours to listen to an audiobook. All right, but that is all the books that I'm planning on reading in October. Again, this is going to be very fluid and may shift a lot just because of how last month went and just being crazy busy with traveling and a lot of commitments that I'm involved in. But I would love to read all of these books, very excited about all of them. Please comment down below and let me know any of these books that I've mentioned, the ones that you would like to hear my thoughts on, and I would love to hear what you're planning on reading in October. But that is it for today's video. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you next time. Stay safe and caffeinated. Bye.